Order of operations. So in order to remember the order, we're going to remember the same. So it goes, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So let's kind of go over this. So the P stands for parentheses, so we'll just kind of show it like this. So what we'll do is we'll deal with what's inside the parentheses first. Then the next thing we're going to deal with is exponents. So we'll look to see if there's an exponent in the expression we need to solve, and then if there is, we go ahead and tackle that one next. Then the next thing we look at to tell us what to do next would be to multiply or divide. So that's why M and D stands for multiply and divide. And then lastly, Aunt Sally, AS, stands for addition and subtraction. Oh, and then also, let's just say this, is that some people can just remember PEMDAS, right? So parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract, right? So this is one, this is the next step, and then the last step. Example 1. So we're going to solve for the following. So let's remember our order of operations. So the first thing we're going to look is parentheses. So we notice right here we have a parentheses, right? So we're going to go ahead and deal with that first. And so when we deal with inside the parentheses, we notice we have two orders of operations. We have an exponent and we have subtraction. So we're going to deal with it by the order of operations. So we're going to go ahead and use do the first step for this would be exponents. So let's go ahead and go 7, and then minus, and we have 5 times 5 times 5. And we'll just write everything else. So we're going to go ahead and deal with that. So 5 times 5 is 25, times another 5 is 125. So we can go 7 minus 125. So we've dealt with, the exponents. Now we're just going to go, but there's no multiplication or division, so we'll just go ahead and subtract. So 7 minus 125, or we can think of this as 125 minus 7, but we'll keep the negative sign, is negative 118. So notice that we did the big step of the parentheses, and we did the small step right inside the parentheses. So there's no more there. And then we have no more exponents. So let's go ahead and rewrite this whole thing. The next step would be to divide. So so this is where our division is. So we're going to go ahead and go 15 divided by 3. So we're going to leave this as is. 15 divided by 3, well, that's 5. So we've done with this big step, and now we're just going to go ahead and add these two numbers together. So we have negative 118 plus 5, so we get negative 113 as our final answer. Now let's look at another example. So example 2. So see, we have quite a lot of operations to do. So let's make sure we write this out. So we're going to deal with inside the parentheses. So we notice we have a large parentheses, and inside we're going to deal with the two parentheses first, and then we'll address the bigger parentheses. So if we look at this one, let's go ahead and do that. Well, 3 times 6, that's just 18, and then plus, and then notice that, we'll just write this all out, we have like 2 orders of operations to do inside. So first, since we're dealing with the order of operation, I know we're in parentheses, we're going to be dealing with that. Well, there's no exponents, so we don't need to do that. Then it would be to multiply or divide. So we're going to go ahead and divide, because we have 14 divided by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. And then we just have this minus 5. So now what do we have to do? Well, right, so we have dealt with this step, right, the divide. Now we need to go ahead and subtract. So we have 18 plus 7 minus 5, so that's 2. So now we have to subtract in that side, the smaller parentheses, right, the inner one. Now we can go ahead and deal with the larger one. So we have 18 plus 2. So we only have one operation to do, and so that's just adding. So let's go ahead and add that, and that would be 20, right? 18 plus 2 is 20. So now we've done, right, with our big parentheses, right, we've done all the parentheses. There's no more exponents. There's only left 2 is to divide. And so we just go 20 divided by 4, and what do we get? We get 5, and that is our solution for this problem.